And we are live. What is going on, everybody? Michael here. Welcome back to Outside the Cage. I forgot exactly what episode we're on. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you are all having an excellent day. Very boring for me. I'm still on a break, but figured I'd hop on a live stream and, see what you guys are up to. Good news. Galaxy Bud video has been filmed, edited, and uploaded. It will be released on Monday, and then after that, we will kick it back up with a whole week of nonstop videos. So I hope you guys enjoy. Sam will be joining in just a couple of minutes. He just finished another live stream, so he will be on in just a little bit. But by the title, we are going to talk about UFC 249. And we're going to discuss what our predictions are going to be. So before we start the stream, we'll wait for a couple more people to join on, and then we will start this bad boy up. So while we also wait, I just want to address what is going on. So as you know, there is a very deadly virus out there. A lot of it, in my opinion, is being overblown. But I do believe safety is the number one priority, even if it is overblown. And we already got 2 people in the chat right away. Again, I'm waiting for Sam, but thank you for coming on. But this whole thing with the virus has been overblown, and I truly, truly believe that I do believe safety is the number one priority, but I feel like some of it is overblown. But in that sense, I do respect where they're coming from. And unfortunately, I will not be attending UFC 249 with my friend Gangi David. It would have been our first UFC event. And I understand the circumstances. I understand, but it sucks. So I get to stay home and watch as a fan. Oh, we got a comment. Hey, what's going on, Maverick? How you doing? Thank you for tuning in tonight. Mortal Kombat. Do 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 fight. Love me some Mortal Kombat. Love it, Maverick. Thank you for coming on, Maverick. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure we spread this stream out. I want a lot of people watch it tonight because things are boring tonight, guys. Everybody is just things are not easy. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, Maverick, and Mortal Kombat. Fight! Once again, just reiterating, someone else has joined. Sam will be on momentarily. He is just resting after his previous live stream that he was doing. But in the meantime, I will pull up the webpage. So, UFC 249. What would have been my first ever UFC event, unfortunately, is not. How you doing, Matt? Thank you for coming on. I'm doing well. How are you doing as well? And thank you once again for coming on. This would have been my first event, and unfortunately, it will not be. It is very disappointing, but I understand safety, so it is what it is. Again, Matt, make sure you hit that like button so we can share the stream out tonight. I did send a link to Gangrene David. I do not know exactly if he will be able to join us tonight because he was a part of this card just as much as me. I know him and I are just disappointed. So, just setting up a couple of things here, guys. While we wait, if you guys want, I will give you a breakdown of 249 and what would have been. It's so depressing to talk about, but once Sam joins, he should be good to go. And he should be here momentarily, guys. I'm just making sure the live stream is good on another media. Just checking it, making sure. And yes, it looks like we are good. So let's continue. So what exactly is this card? Well, this, in my opinion, is probably one of the coolest cards that UFC has put together for a Khabib fight. Not only do you have a lot of striking matches, but you have a rematch, 2 rematches, and honestly, I'm pretty excited. It would have been fun to go to, but Yeah, we all know what happened. But or something. So yeah. So while we wait for Sam, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. Looks like he's joining. So let me give you a quick rundown before we start this up. I'm gonna get him in. I see him. So let me add him in. And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend, the beard of knowledge. No, that belongs to Pete. Actually, you know what? I think we're gonna have to give that to Pete. But still, the man with the brain and chip on his shoulders. Here he is from Cleveland, Ohio, probably in isolation, just like me. The Sam, the SMT. Welcome on.
What's with the intro, man? Yeah, buddy.
I know. I had to get that intro. Anyway, thank you for coming. Sorry I started a little early. Just
That's
wanted to
okay,
warm
man.
up the chat. But
Yeah.
anyway, now that we're here, now that you're here, we can finally get this party started. So I have just discussed to everybody that unfortunately this event has been canceled, and I actually just got notified as quite timing. I just received a notification from Ticketmaster. I will be receiving a full reimbursement of all payments within or less than 30 days.
That sucks, man. I'm sorry, bro. I know
You
you were
know what?
looking forward to it, bro.
You know what? Listen, I'm not mad because if I was mad, I'd probably be punching walls. I'd be pissing and
Yeah.
But I understand the circumstances. I understand, safety is the number one priority, and I do believe that it's better to keep people safe than to God
Sure.
forbid somebody gets sick. But it does suck.
Yes, it does.
But it,
I mean, it's like the worst case scenario. Like this fight has found ways to evade us.
well, not this time. Dana White is making sure this fight's going to happen. I don't even care if they do this fight in space. This fight is happening. Now, before we start the breakdown, can I just ask like what's going on with Habib's ear? Was this
That's okay. So if you look at Tony's ear, it's similar, but not as bad on Tony's ear. So that's what happens to wrestlers, bro. They
Of course.
get the cauliflower going on, man.
And Matt, of course, I always know how to make an intro. I gotta do a Bruce Buffer. But listen, so yeah.
Big shout out to Maverick and Matt in the live chat.
Yes, shout out. I saw them and I was like, thank you guys for coming on. So what an interesting card we have here. This is actually would have been an awesome fight to see in person, but again, circumstances. I can't control Mother Nature, but you know what? It won't stop me from being a fan and watching it at home on TV.
Sure, yeah.
So this is honestly going to be a great fight. And listen, there are going to be many other UFC events. This is only one of many. And listen, it doesn't have to be Khabib and Ferguson. It would have been nice, but there are so much other things out there, and I'm just excited for what could come next. But with that said, let's get it going. So this is the final card. This is exactly what we're going to see. People were saying that this fight was going to be a 7-card fight, and I was like, that's not happening. There's no way they would ever fit 7 fights. I guess they were just trying to build up, because it's Khabib and, it's in Brooklyn. But we take a look at the prelims. There are some interesting prelims, some notey ones. Big Ben Rothwell is on the prelims, and Uriah Hall is on the prelims. I'm surprised they moved this to the prelim. This is actually the main prelim of the night. I am actually very surprised that this is actually on the prelim, but I believe I know why they moved it for a good reason. And then honestly, the early prelims, I gotta say, if you guys don't watch the early prelims, maybe give it a watch, because honestly, there are some up-and-comers in this card that you will like, and honestly, they are pretty good. So definitely check out the prelims and the early prelims if you can. I do not support pirating, but honestly, if you can pirate this crap, just watch it. It's honestly awesome. So quick notable mentions and some honorable shout-outs for the prelim: Uriah Hall and Ronaldo and Big Ben Rothwell. Those are 2 shout-outs. I don't know if you want to talk about them, but we could take a look at the 2 honorable mentions. So this is a heavyweight bout. Big Ben going against Jan, and this is actually the start of the prelim. Now, okay. I am a little bit surprised they put Ben Rothwell on the start. I would have expected him to be a little bit higher upper, but you look at the prelim card, it's got some depth to it, and I respect that. Mostly some up-and-comers and some actually potential high-gaining fighters, because some of these fighters I recognize, some of them are coming off some good wins, and they're looking to boost themselves into a winning streak. But let's take a look at this. Ben Rothwell against Jan. Who do you think is win? Not going to really focus too heavy.
Yeah, I like the upside of Jan Volante. I've seen a couple of his more recent fights. I like what I see. He's got a lot of promise. Ben's kind of the wily veteran. He's
Yeah.
been around a while, and he's a very skilled fighter. Although
Hmm.
his last couple showings have been kind of suspect.
It is
He
questionable.
took some time away. I mean, well, he didn't take time away. He was suspended. He had a
Hmm.
positive PED test, which is weird because he doesn't seem like he would be doing PEDs, but you never know. And whatever the case may be, I've always liked Ben Rothwell. I've always thought this guy he's an excellent submission fighter. His stand up got better in the evolution of his career, but
Hmm.
Jan's the younger guy. He's kind of like the more, I don't know, the more
Snappier in terms of age
modern,
and youth.
sure, modern prototypical heavyweight. So, and he's faster,
Hmm.
no doubt faster, maybe more powerful, possibly. I don't know. I can't really say because I don't know what Ben looks like these days in terms of power. So I'll go with Jan because the upside, and I think Ben's kind of fallen out of favor in the UFC. So I'll take Jan.
That's a fair assessment. I was actually going to go Jan for a different reason, but I actually agree with what you said. My reason would be because Jan, because of his age, and like you said, it is a little bit questionable about Ben, but this is heavyweight we're talking about. They don't have the best cardio, stamina. It's just
Sure.
really just heavy punches. But Jan, again, younger youth. I always say young age sometimes can beat the cow. I don't know. That's a weird saying, but you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
Next one up. This is actually a surprising one for me. I don't understand why this one is on the prelim, but I'm glad they made it the main prelim. So at least there's some respect to that level. It is the main event of the prelims. It is Uriah Hall against Ronaldo. And honestly, I'm looking forward to this. Uriah Hall, I've watched him a couple times. Pretty good in my opinion. I like him very much. Is in the middleweights, honestly, there are not a lot of fighters that I could say that I like just because of because in middleweights you've got Israel Adesanya, Kevin Gosselin, Paul Acosta. You've got so many of these good ones, but then there are others that you just kind of really don't hear about as much if you understand where I'm going. But
Sure.
Uriah Hall is a name there. He's obviously in the top 10, and I really do like him. I can't really speak because I haven't watched too much of Ronaldo. Have you? I would ask you if you've seen a couple of Ronaldo fights.
So Jacare has been fighting for eons. This dude is I believe, a Strike Force or a Pride fighter. So he's been part of the absorption of the different promotions from the UFC over the course of the last decade.
I see.
And he's a really veteran fighter. He's got tons of fights under his belt. He is world-class jiu-jitsu. He is extremely dangerous in grappling. Big shout out to Michael in the live chat. Thank you for the super chat earlier, and thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for coming on, Michael. I appreciate you joining.
Jacare he's a little long in the tooth, so he's not a young fighter. He's been around forever. I don't know where he's at in terms of his career, in terms of ascension. He's not competing for a title anymore.
No.
He's a 14th ranked fighter. This was a guy a couple years ago that was in the top 3.
It would have been a great contender. Now that you think about it, if he was in the top 3 just a few years ago, that would have been a discussion we could be having now for a title shot.
Yeah.
But time has passed. There are so much more opportunities, and now we're seeing the middleweight division starting to pick up some gas. Especially with Paul Acosta.
Yeah.
I could say Israel Adesanya, but honestly, there is depth in that division. Kevin Gosselin, now you got Darren Till. So these fighters, these older ones are being pushed out, and the new guys are coming in. And honestly, all I can say for this fight, I would like Uriah Hall to win. I would personally like to see him win, but honestly, I wouldn't really lose sleep if either one won. I wouldn't lose or.
I really like Uriah Hall. I
Timothy,
think he's a good fighter. The thing about Uriah Hall is he's had some disappointed showings. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I know for a fact that Uriah Hall is the favorite in this fight. Like if you looked at the Vegas odds, but I wouldn't be surprised if he let us down and lost to Jacare. And Jacare is, I don't want to disrespect him. I just see them how they're in the phases of their careers. Uriah Hall should be more of an ascending name, and Jacare should be more of a descending name. So, yeah.
I agree. And
what's up, Big Timothy?
And Big Timothy, I saw you guys on that live stream. Very good live stream. Sorry I had to pull him out an hour early, but that man is mine. That man is mine. But yeah, so again, it could be a toss-up. Honestly, like you said, the perfect way to look at this, one should be ascending, the other one descending, but who knows? The roles could be reversed.
Sure.
Now let's get to the main card. This card evolved, and it evolved in a very good way. I am genuinely shocked at how good this card is. This is a true, genuine, awesome call. Like a card. I'm sorry. I saw something. Michael writes, I am more interested in the selfless up, but this is a little interesting. Michael, it is always good that I am able to bring something new to the table for you guys to look at. Because listen, phone and cellular technologies are great, like you said, but sometimes there is always something else out there waiting to be explored. And this is one of those. This is MMA. And Timothy, again, it's all good, brother. I'm glad you were able to come in. So, this card, what a card we have. I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while. I'm actually going to call off every fight. So you have Jeremy Stephens, big man. Man, who the f*** is that guy? Going up against Calvin Kattar. Islam, Khabib's teammate, kind of like his brother-like, gets Alexander Hernandez. We got a rematch of a mostly controversial referee call. We got the Hulk against Magomed 2. Jessica Andrade against Rose Namajuans. Did I say that? I have to work on my pronunciation. Everybody knows I can't pronounce for you know what? I'm not getting monetized. I am not getting monetized, so I can curse. I need to pronounce the shit right. Was I close?
All right. So let's scroll down for me and let's do the pronunciations here. All right. So you got Jeremy Stephens and Calvin Kattar. You did good there. Okay. Islam Makhachev and Alexander Hernandez, and then we have Magomed Ankalaev.
I was not saying Ankalaev.
I saw their first fight, but is it Jan or Ian? Like, how do you pronounce his first name?
I just call him the Hulk. It's easy to remember.
That's his nickname. It's Hulk.
Hulk.
Okay, and then you have Jessica Andrade. And Rose Namajunas.
Thank you. Okay, see, guys, I'm going to learn my pronunciation.
And I'm pretty sure this is their second or third fight.
This is their second. I'll break everything down. You're lucky. I actually took some classes today. And, of course, the main event, Tony El Kukui Ferguson against Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov. So let's start it up. Let's start up with Jerry Stephens or Stephens. People say Stephens because they're more familiar with that name, Stephens, but Stephens. Let's take a look at this. This is actually going to be a very anticipated fight for me.
Little heathen.
Now, I don't know why this man's picture is not up on the board, but Dana, you better get that fixed. But this is going to be an interesting fight. Not because Jeremy is on a losing streak, but because of just what these two fighters bring. Now, we're not going to look at breakdowns because for me, I want to save the breakdowns for the co-main and the main event. But this is going to be a striking match. I'm going to tell you off the bat. This is going to be a striking match. Jeremy Stephens, though, I feel like has a lot more to lose in this fight because he is a featherweight. He was in the lightweight division, but I don't know what happened to him in lightweight. He went down to featherweight hoping for some, rejuvenation like Darren Till and other fighters. But like in this case, it kind of is like a roller coaster. He's won some, lose some. He had a controversial decision between Yair Rodriguez with that controversial eye poke, and then they did the rematch, and it turns out Yair beat the shit out of him. So now he's pretty much in a situation where he's in the featherweight division, and he's a great striker. Like, honestly, everybody makes fun of him because of the Conor McGregor, but if you watch Jeremy Stephens fight, he is actually a very good fighter.
He has a lot of power. He's very dangerous.
Very dangerous man. But you're going up against Calvin Kattar. Did I say that right? I said that right. But honestly, though, I think this fight is not really whether who's better, but who's at more at stake here. And also, before we go, I probably would have said the names wrong too. Of course, it's hard to do this. You're out of school, so I'm learning from online. It's not easy. But in all honesty, this is more of Jeremy Stephens really more to lose in this fight because we could go into stats and breakdowns, but this fight has a lot more for Jeremy because the way I look at this fight is that he was a lightweight contender. He was a powerhouse. He comes down to featherweight. Okay, he wins one. Then he gets two fights of the same guy. The first one obviously was controversial. I can't say that was wrong because, listen, you got poked in the eye, But the second time around, it just shows that he would have beat you either way. And now you're going up against Calvin, who, again, is another striker. Very good, I would add. Very good featherweight.
Sure, yeah.
Very good. And now the question comes, I just think for me, Jerry has more to prove in this fight if he wants to keep himself relevant. He may be the 7th ranked featherweight, but that doesn't mean nothing if he can't get his momentum to come back. And we'll talk about
it probably puts him in the top 5 of the win, right?
if he win, and that's what I'm about to say. If he wins this fight, he could be not top 5, but I would say maybe close to the top 5, top 6. He'll move up one position because he's coming off 2 losses. Because the first loss, I believe, was a while back. I forgot the opponent. Then he lost to Yair Rodriguez. That was his 2nd loss. And now this is his 3rd. If he loses, this will only decline him when he really should be going up. And Jeremy is a powerhouse. But with that said, Calvin is another great featherweight. He punches like bricks. I say that. And I can see why the image isn't coming up. It looks like a browser extension, whatever. But point is, if I had to pick a winner, and the odds favorite right now in this fight is Jeremy Stevens. I'm sorry. I get that so confused. But the favorite is Jeremy. But I am a little bit split here. But I think I'm going to have to go with Calvin because I just feel that he is more of what you would say like a guy that can finish and close out. And basically even though he's not too well known in the featherweight division, he, in my opinion, can definitely get some momentum riding, beating Jeremy Stevens. So you go ahead.
I'll take Jeremy Stevens for this fight. I don't know. I'm just going to go with the experience factor. I feel like they're both pretty dangerous fighters. They're both guys that hold a lot of power. I'll just go with the matchup, and I think Jeremy has the edge in this one. The power is really good. He's very accurate. The wrestling's probably a little bit better. I don't think he'll use it. I think he's looking to knock this dude's head off.
He's gonna. This is not gonna be like a wrestler because we've already got wrestlers in this card.
Sure.
So.
I think there's going to be a finish here no matter what, one way or the other.
This is going to be a striking fight. This is going to be, I'm telling you right now. And if I'm wrong, I will come back on when we do a recap. And also, quickly, my man, I love WWE, Michael. I love WWE. Hulk Hogan smashing the metal chair on his head. Well, let me tell you something, brother. I love me some WWE. But anyway, so this is a good card. And honestly, I'm sorry, not good card, but this is a good matchup. I really hope that Jeremy can prove me wrong and win. But with his last performances, I'm having some doubt when he really should be in the top 5. Because this guy, he can back up his fighting. Honestly, Conor McGregor may have mocked him that day, but this man can fight. And I'm telling you, he can fight. Next up is another interesting fight. Alexander Hernandez going against Islam Makhachev. Did I say it right?
Makhachev.
God damn it. Makhachev. Islam Makhachev. Now, this one is another interesting fight because of 2 reasons. One, Alexander the Great Hernandez. These two are pretty much up-and-comers, but there is an exception to Islam because Islam does train with Khabib. They're pretty much like brothers. They have like a connection, and these two kind of have similar fighting style. Originally, the plan was Kevin Lee was going to fight Islam, but then Kevin Lee took the fight night deal. I don't know what happened, and then we saw that. But this is actually an interesting matchup. 2 guys in their primes. One is a good wrestler. I'm not saying great wrestler, but a good wrestler. And then you have a power beast, Alexander Hernandez. And these 2 guys, in my opinion, are going to give one hell of a performance. Now, I'll let you start this one because I have been talking crazy. So go ahead.
I'll take Islam Makhachev in this one. I saw his last fight. Mm-hmm. He looked pretty good. I feel like anybody who's training amongst or with Khabib is going to be a very skilled fighter if they are ascending. So I'm looking at a guy like Islam who's ranked 14. The last time I saw him fight, he wasn't ranked. No. So he's impressing the UFC brass that he's moving up in the rankings. So I'll go with him as the ascending fighter. And, as long as these types of fighters continue to grow between fights, improving their striking, working on their wrestling, getting better. And he's got some of the best experiences in terms of training.
Oh, yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll go with Islam in this matchup.
Now, and I agree. I'm going to go Islam too. But I'm going to go with Islam not just because of his training and stuff, but just because of just how he's positioning himself as a fighter. He's fast-paced. He does the takedowns very well. He tires his opponents out on the ground. And sometimes his fight, I think his last one went to the decision, but he did an impressive performance, no doubt about it. And even if he trains with Khabib, I say Kha, you can hear that emphasis on Kha, but still, when you train with a guy like Khabib Nurmagomedov, and you train with DC, Daniel Cormier, you're training, because they train with Daniel Cormier. You're training with elite wrestlers. Now, he is obviously growing. This kid has got a little bit more to go, but he is on his way up. And I could see him with the mentality and the strength and his attributes, because he can also strike, where Khabib can't really do good on the top. This kid can punch. Not as strong, but he can punch. He's a better striker than Khabib, in my opinion. Now, no disrespect to Alexander Hernandez. He's also another good fighter, but I feel like when it comes to wrestling, I feel like Khabib's, style is going to come out in Islam, and I feel like that's what's going to happen. But again, I definitely think that this is going to be an interesting fight. I'm interested to see if he can actually go toe-to-toe with Alexander. And honestly, if Alexander were to pull out on this victory, this would put him in a good position as well to move up on the rankings. So he's 15. So you beat him, you'll go up, like maybe to top 10.
Yeah, but absolutely. That's a good boost in the rankings.
I agree. Now we move to this fight. Now this is where I remember when I said that the reason why I think the Uriah Hall fight was on the main prelim, because I feel like they swapped it for this fight. You've got the Hulk Ion against Magomed. Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you say Ankalev?
Ankalev.
I was about to say it. So you've got a rematch. So this is a rematch from what happened, I believe, a few fight nights ago. It was a very controversial call. So basically, Ion was getting his ass whooped. He was starting to shake and stumble, and Magomed was pretty much hammering him. And just before, I guess, he was about to go down, the referee stopped the fight, but Ion was still up. He was still conscious. He wasn't unconscious. He was still sensible. And I believe that there was the controversy was whether the referee made the right call, and it looks like we're going to see with this fight. Now, I will say this. Before this match was a rematch, when I looked at this fight on paper, I had Ion coming out as the victor. I picked him. But when I saw the actual fight, Magomed impressed me. And he impressed me very well. Whether you want to call it controversial or not, this man rocked the hell out of Ion. You can't deny, before that call was made, had he landed a couple more shots, and a perfect clean shots, I may say, that man would have been on the ground. Even before, on paper, I had Ion taking the victory. But when I saw what Magomed did to him, and before the referee called the fight, I was like, this man could have won the fight, even without the call, at that point. Had the referee waited just a few seconds longer, and he had gone down, then I would have been like, damn. So now we have the rematch, and it's very interesting because again, going into these fights, these two fighters know exactly what to expect. This man, I gotta say, listen, I love me some Ion, but dude, you are being so annoying with your goddamn intros. You are not the Hulk. You are not the Hulk. So stop trying to walk up to somebody and start pushing them, trying to cross crap before the fight. Because this man whooped your ass as soon as you did that. But with that said, though, this man can back it up.
Sure.
Ion can back it up.
Sure.
But for the rematch, I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to stick with Ion. I'm going to stick with him because I do believe the second time around he will be a little bit more alert, so he now knows what to expect with all rematches. But I think in this case, if he is able to get his things tuned up, meaning like if he gets what he needs to fix, I think he could pull the victor. But honestly, I really would not be surprised if Magomed wins this fight again. I really wouldn't be surprised.
I like Magomed. I don't think it's going to change the outcome. The fact that it's just a rematch. I thought he looked good. I was impressed, and I think he comes out with the same urgency. He says, hey, I can beat this guy. I basically did. Controversial finish or not, whatever. I think he pulls it off. I think he convincingly turns the page in this chapter, as they say.
That's fair. And you know what? I don't disagree. I agree with you. He did impress me with that first fight, which is why I find it crazy everybody's saying, oh, that was a terrible referee call, but the man was about to go out. I mean, maybe it was called early, but it wouldn't have changed the outcome.
Sure. Yeah.
Now we get to the co-main event.
Good fight right here, man.
This is a great fight. A rematch between Jessica, obviously that's right, Andrade. It looks like Andrade.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Andrade against Rose the Thug Namajunas.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She's so these are interesting fighters. Jessica's a pit bull. I really like I like her fighting style. She's tough as nails. She will finish fighters. She's really, really tough. Rose is more the technician. She's footwork. She's finesse. She's timing. She's feints, techniques, like angles. So she's more the technical fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And not that Jessica isn't technical, but she does rely on her power. And she is more brawler than she is technician, as opposed to Rose, who is more technician than brawler. But Rose will, I mean, she will hit you with good shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about timing. It's all about technique. Jessica's more like, I'm going to hit you with everything, including the kitchen sink with this one.
100%. Who did you pick? I might have missed that for a second.
I really like Rose, man. She's a great story. She's been a champion, and Jessica has too.
Mm-hmm. Both women are champions, and this is really, I mean, you don't need a title to really make this fight. This was a rematch waiting to happen because the last time these two women fought,
Jessica got
her within like the first few seconds of the fight, and it was over.
The power is real. So
the power is real.
Because of that, you always will go back to that. You'll go to that and say, well, it could happen again, and it definitely could. But you got to think to yourself, Rose is a smart fighter. Her camp, her trainers are very cerebral. I think they'll look at, holes in Jessica's game.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make the adjustments and then kind of bounce back. I'll take Rose being able to make the adjustments and bounce back, get back to that number one contender spot, and get a chance to get the title from is it Weili, right?
Weili,
yeah, Weili Zhang or whatever. I really like because Rose has beat
Joanna
twice.
She beat her,
yeah. So she took her title and then she beat her
for the rematch.
In the rematch, or I think she beat her. Whatever it was.
Yeah, so it was two fights. So the first time was for the championship, beat her in fashion, and Joanna was really a bitch in that fight.
I think there's something to that. I think Rose is going to be very careful. She knows what Jessica can do. Yeah. So maybe she plays a little tentative early on, but I think she gets in a groove, and I think she'll piece her up pretty good, and she'll frustrate her, make Jessica want to do things she doesn't want to do, come in, and then, land a clean shot.
Absolutely. You know what? I agree. Now, listen, I look at this fight for both women can benefit from this because Jessica is coming off a loss of her title.
Winner gets a title shot.
Winner gets a title shot, pretty much. The winner gets a title shot. This is the number one against the number two. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
And if Jessica wins this fight, she stays number one, and she will get that title shot. Number two, Rose will move up to number one. Plain and simple. But I do have one bit of concern. I do have a little concern. Probably just my nerves, because I am picking Rose for this fight. I have a concern. Two concerns, really, but this one really isn't the main one. I'm looking at the weights. 135, 115. What weight class are we having this fight in? I just want to check.
This is 115.
I know, I'm saying it's 115 and 135. So she's coming down to 115.
No, she's 115.
Oh, so goddamn it, UFC, they need to update their goddamn.
Yeah, that's an error. That's an error all day.
All right, UFC, fix this crap. But anyway, the real issue or concern that I have is Rose was gone for a year. And I get it. You need to take time to reassess your situation. You need to get your mind clear. You have to figure out your plan and retrain, rejuvenate. I get all that.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit like kind of confused, maybe a little bit worried because it's bad enough you lose your title to this woman.
Well, Rose is kind of, her mental health situation is, it's very sensitive.
Oh, no, and I get that. That's why I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to touch anything about their personal lives. I will never, no matter how much we get into a fighter, we will never discuss their personal things. That's just something I believe in. I believe that's personal for a reason. So we keep that personal. Mm-hmm. But you're going away for a year. You come back and I give her credit. You're taking on the number one ranked in the division. You're basically taking on the woman that beat you for your title. This is your revenge. I give her props. Mm-hmm. But you've been gone for a year. This
Ring
woman
rust?
has maybe a little bit.
Mm.
And also, don't forget, Jessica has more at stake. She's going to come in this fight to dominate because she lost her title to whatever. The point is, both fighters are coming into this with different mindsets. But I don't know if Jessica's is coming in with more to kill or just to reclaim versus Rose's mindset. I don't know. So I'm a little bit worried of ring rust and also just their current mentality and their status of just approach for this fight. I'm a little bit concerned, but I do have faith in Rose, and I know she can get the job
So let me
done.
ask you this, Michael. Who's more likely looking ahead? Because I think that's the person who makes the mistake in looking at the next fight instead of taking care of business in their current one.
I'm gonna say,
because like I don't think Rose does. I think
Jessica.
if anything,
I think Jessica's looking at her next because that's a great question. You asked a perfect question. Who's looking ahead? And that's a perfect question. I think, in all honesty, even though I have my fear, I think Jessica is. Because
so who's more likely to drop it? I think Jessica's more likely to lose this fight by looking ahead. And I think Rose, looking at this like I need to avenge my loss, and it's all business right now.
Agree. And listen, I may have my concerns, and my concerns, are for me, but that doesn't change my opinion on what I think of Rose. She is given the word thug for a reason. She can fight. She's very technical. Whether she's technical on the level of Valentina Shevchenko technical, that's debatable. But I definitely see her coming in, kicking ass, and reclaiming back to the top spot to get her title back. I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. And I believe in this woman all the way.
I like Rose too.
Man. And Joanne, what she did to her in that first fight for the title, that was just pure bullying. And I was glad when Rose won that fight. And I was so happy. Yeah, and look how humble Jo. You know this was funny. Joanne really went in there mocking her. Loses, tries to say, "Oh, it was luck." Loses the second time. Then you get another title shot against Weili Zhang, and then you lose again, and you're still not humbled after 3 title losses.
She is. She's humbled. I think she lets on, a bit of a show, but what are you gonna do? They're fighters that have to keep the confidence high, man.
Well, she got that Frankenstein look, and now she's healed. So let's hope she learns from
that head, bro. Can you put up a picture of that?
You know what? Well, yeah, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up right now. Okay.
Do a share screen, bro. I'd love to see that. It's pretty crazy, man. Like that hematoma, whatever is going on in her forehead. I mean, I've never seen a fighter's head like look like that.
I've never seen that. Look at this. Look at this. My God. Tell me, listen, valiant effort, great fight.
She's not bad. She's not bad looking, at weigh-ins.
At weigh-ins, yeah, but look what.
Oh, bro.
But listen, we're not trying to discriminate. We're just having some fun, guys. But God damn.
Wow.
Did Zai mess her up? Because in the press conference, she was talking smack to her and everything. And then
that's a 5 head. That's not a 4 head.
That's a 5 head. You're right. Now we get to the main event. This one will take up most of the time. We already know where we stand, but we're gonna have a good debate here. We're gonna do it for the fans that are watching this.
Do it for El Kukui, bro.
Tony El Kukui Ferguson against Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, if you guys haven't seen our previous live stream, Sam and I have gotten into it out of respect, though. We haven't done it with respect, no animosity.
No, none.
And he believes Khabib Nurmagomedov's going to win.
He would have smashed your boy. He would have smashed your boy. All right.
And I personally would like to see Tony Ferguson win. I'm picking Tony Ferguson, but realistically, I know Khabib is going to dominate. I realistically know that. But I am making the case of how Tony can actually, I guess you could say, not with a plan, but just on pure instinct on how he can turn the fight around on the ground against Khabib. And you argue that it is not, is not possible. So I'll tell you what. For those of you that haven't watched our previous live streams, we are going to reiterate why we think who is going to win this fight or has a better shot of winning, whatever you want to say. So I'll tell you what. I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to let you talk. You got the floor. I know what you're going to say. I know it from a mile away, but I want everybody to hear it, and then I will make my case.
All right. Tony is a fantastic fighter. He may be one of the most entertaining fighters within the division, arguably one of the most entertaining fighters in the entire roster of the UFC. He is a champion in his own right. He is an amazing technician when it comes to different techniques, the elbows, the knees, the kicks, the punches, the energy, the submissions, the ground game. He's a very complete fighter. But the thing that he does best, whatever it is not to the level that Khabib has in ground and pound. So Khabib is the ace of spades. That's how good his wrestling and ground and pound is. Like, that is amazing. What Tony offers is an uncanny ability to move, his ability to possibly make damage happen from his back. The thing is he able to do that with a guy like Khabib, who is unrelenting, doesn't stop, sickening pace.
We got a comment. Sorry. Michael writes, I actually wanted to put this up. Sorry. Some people will never, ever be humble. And if they do become humble, they will not let it show on the outside, since we all are expected to be strong. 100% agreed. I agree with that statement, Michael. That is a very, very good way of putting it, and I respect that. Okay, continue.
It's like part of the human flaw.
Of course.
I'll say, like with Khabib, I feel like Khabib has to make a mistake, and then Tony can capitalize. No fighter's perfect. Everybody's going to make errors. There's going to be transitions. Tony's not just going to lay down and take whoopings, you know. But if he can land a clean elbow, if he can land something quick, you know, he's got this really jittery nature about him. He's very squirmy. We've seen him land elbows off of his back. We've seen him land submissions off of his back, which is amazing. You know, you don't see that every day. So I don't want to discount him and say he can't win, but in all the different scenarios and how it plays out, Tony is more likely to win off of a mistake than he is off of his own aggressive nature. He'd have to catch Khabib coming in or catch Khabib with something on the ground where Khabib would make a mistake. And I've seen Khabib make a mistake, you know, in transitions where, you know, Dustin Poirier almost landed a guillotine. So if Tony gets in something like that, I like that as a possibility for Tony. But if Khabib stays technical and does what he did to Edson Barbosa or Michael Johnson, which Tony's on a whole nother level than those guys. But like, I play this out, all the different scenarios in my head. How could this fight turn out? Khabib wins 90% of the time in the way it plays out for me. So if I'm betting money, I'm putting it on Khabib. If I'm going for the gusto, I love Tony in an upset, because that would be an amazing story. Because if Khabib's not a minus 150 favorite, he's a minus like 170 favorite. You know, it might be better. So give me Khabib if I've got to bet on somebody, but there's always going to be a part of me. I love what Tony does, man. He's fun.
Okay. Now I'm going to come in. Listen, before I start this, I just want to say this is what we agree on. We agree that both fighters have destroyed all of their opponents that they have fought. We agree.
Yes.
We agree that both fighters are the best fighters in the lightweight division.
Yes.
And we do agree that both fighters have a good ground game.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. That's good. We agree on those things. Now I'm going to reiterate some things that you have said in your arguments against Khabib that you've said about Ferguson. And I'm going to say some things that you probably don't know. So, hands down, odds favorite, if you had to tell me, I pick Khabib every day. Khabib is just that dominant. Khabib is a dominant champion. He is one of those guys that is just truly can't be beaten. Because you could go in there with a plan and you will fail. Because once he takes those, I know what you're laughing at. Those rubber band like ropes that go around a ring can be a very, oh man, Michael. Those are rubber. This isn't that type, Michael. This is the octagon.
Cage fighting, man.
Cage fighting. Chains. Anyway, where was I? Lost my train of thought. I love Michael. Michael, it's okay. I know what you mean. I know you don't mean any harm.
Right.
It's okay. I forgive you. But let's get back to it. So everybody walks in there with a plan to beat Khabib, but nobody can make the plan happen. Because once Khabib grabs your legs, you're done. I agree. No one has been able to stop Khabib. And he has beaten pretty much some of the best fighters in the lightweight division. From Al Iaquinta, Conor, Edson Barbosa, Dustin Poirier. He's beaten some great guys in the division.
Yeah, the who's who of the division.
The who's who. But now you're going up against the man that really, in my opinion, is the boogeyman. Listen, nobody has been able to stop Khabib, but I think Tony has what it takes that he could possibly stop him. For me, I think the real serious threat is his ground game, whether it be his jiu-jitsu, his sharp elbows, or just his movement from the bottom. I think that's where he really takes over. So Khabib obviously is going to go for the takedown, and he's going to be dominant with that ground and pound. But at the same time, Tony is so active off his back that he's good with elbows and tricky shots.
Sure.
I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting when you think of the possibilities, but what can realistically happen? Because Khabib obviously is going to train and go, you know what? I know he's going to land elbows, so I have to figure out positions and stuff. But at the same time, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can get you from anywhere. If you've seen Damian Maia versus Ben Askren, the best wrestler against the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for at the time, Jiu-Jitsu beat out wrestling. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen here, but I'm just giving an example. Now, Khabib, obviously, like I said, is going to be dominant. Khabib is going to be dominant. He is going to maul. He's going to try to destroy Tony. But Tony is a great fit because he's not just going to stay put on the bottom like most of these guys. Tony could take a lot of punishment, which you know Khabib is going to dish out. You know he is going to punch. He is going to try to tire him out. Now, I think Tony doesn't get tired as easily as these guys. He has great cardio, and I think that's something he has going for him. Now, the one thing that I think Tony can do if he truly wants to beat Khabib is not power shots or submission. You know what I think he needs to do? He needs to land a good amount of high volume strikes. Tony,
so take him into deep waters on the feet, like on the ground.
It doesn't
on the feet
matter. It doesn't matter. Tony is not a power puncher, which I don't think is really what's going to solve Khabib, because Khabib will get you on the ground, you're done.
Sure.
But I think you have to fight him hard. You're going to have to stuff out a few takedowns, volume strike him. And I think that's basically how you're going to beat him. You have to do what you said. Put him in deep water. He has to be able to take those takedowns, defend some of them if he can. If he can. And I think he has to try to the best that he can land a good amount of strikes to Khabib. Because Khabib's chin has been tested. We've seen him get rocked by Dustin Poirier. Al Iaquinta landing a couple of good shots. Conor did nothing, so we're not going to mention Conor because Conor tired himself out. But his chin has been tested, and it is a little wobbly. Now, do I think that Tony can land some of those perfect elbows? No, not perfect, but he can land them. Will they do damage? Maybe. So I think, for me, if Tony puts up a nice high volume of strikes while being able to be dominant on the ground, not giving Khabib the room to find a submission to keep him down. If Tony can use what he is known for, being unorthodox, basically mixing things up, showing Khabib a different style of fighting that he hasn't seen, he might be able. I don't think he'll win by knockout submission, but I think he could go the distance, and if he could rack up the points, take it to a judge's score. That's how I could see Tony winning. If he could scuff out a few takedowns, high volume level of striking, do some damage on the ground. He is good on his back. And last thing I'll say, if he can, honestly, he cannot do his foolish crap that he does with most of his fights. He cannot tumble when going down. He can't do a
somersaults and cartwheels.
But if he does what he did to Kevin Lee, who was pretty much dominant that whole fight, but then caught him with an armbar or a triangle choke and then won the interim lightweight title. If he could do what he did to Anthony Pettis, put the pressure on him, get rocked, but then come back and basically bust him up, break his hand. If he can do what he did to Cowboy, everything that he's done to his opponents, if he can do some of it,
sure,
I think he has a chance. More than anybody will ever have. And also, Michael, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you, man. Take it
Thanks
easy.
for everything,
have a great
Mike.
night.
Take care, buddy.
So that is my case for Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, I'm going with Khabib.
I'm going Ferguson. Some things will never change. But it's interesting, it's good. Listen, even though I know Khabib's going to win. I'm just rooting for the underdog, but I can see more possibilities coming out because I've seen Tony fight more than Khabib.
What's the line on the fight?
What do you mean? The odds?
Yeah.
They haven't put the numbers up. But if I had to take a guess, yeah, the odds aren't up yet. They didn't put them up. Actually, if you want me to pull them up, I can pull them up for you. Would you like me to do that?
I wonder if they've changed with the whole venue and everything.
Oh yeah, we'll discuss that in a little bit. So the fighting. Khabib's has actually gone up. Tony's gone down a little bit. Tony is a plus 245 and Khabib is a 290. Originally, it was 315 to 238.
Wow, I didn't even think it was that much. I thought Khabib would be like at minus 175.
Nah, but it seems like he's going down now.
Tony would have been like plus 2 something, 210, 220. I'm
surprised because the original Vegas odds was a minus 315 going to Khabib and plus 238 for Tony. Now, because of all the changes and things going on, and also Johnny Cage wins. And and now you look at the venue, and also Tony just releasing videos with him training in jeans and a belt. I mean, that's not gonna change, but
he's wearing penny loafers too.
He went up, but the thing is, Tony went up where Khabib went down from a minus 315 to a minus 290. That's like a 20-point drop, kind of almost like a.
That means the money's all over the place.
So this fight could go all over the place. So overall, that's our predictions for UFC 249. This would have been an awesome card to see in person, but again, circumstances stopped us. And look, it is what it is, but I'm just happy I'll be able to see this fight, and I hope it finally goes through. Personally, I know for a fact Khabib is going to win, but I'm rooting for Tony. You know Khabib's going to win, and you're rooting for Khabib. But listen, either way, 5th time's a charm, hopefully. All right, so now that we're done with our predictions, we're going to do one quick thing, and then we're going to get out of here. We're going to break the 1 hour mark. Let's talk UFC now. So as you know, this coronavirus situation has gotten, pretty much out of hand now. Things are getting a lot worse. New York, where I live, is in a lockdown now. We have reached that point. We are now in lockdown. Starts this Sunday. UFC events, and MLB, NBA, NFL seasons are being delayed. Things are basically going to turn. Now we're going to focus for this part. We're going to focus on UFC. But it looks like, from what we're being told and from what Dana White is saying, it looks like by come June, July, things might start to clear up for the UFC. They'll be able to host a little bit more, hopefully by then. But we can't predict these things with Mother Nature. We can't. We don't have – it's not like the radio. It's not like the Weather Channel where you have a Doppler radar where you can see where it's going. We can't predict Mother Nature. We can just hope that things get better. And thank you, Maverick. Matt. I'm sorry. Maverick was next. Tony, Jessica, Ion. Those are his picks. He picks Tony, Jessica, and Ion.
Good picks, man.
Good picks. So now, let's get into the question. UFC 250. That fight is in a little bit of jeopardy. Henry Cejudo against Jose Aldo for the bantamweight. I don't understand that matchup, but we'll save that for next time. And then you have, I believe you have Amanda Nunes against Felicia Spencer for the featherweight title. So these are 2 title fights that are in risk of possibly being pushed or delayed. I don't know what Dana's going to do for the UFC fights. We're going to see what he does with 249, how he's going to host it, what's he going to do. But do you think that these fights are in jeopardy if things don't get better, or what do you see could be happening?
I mean, anything's possible at this point. These are uncharted waters. It's things that we've never dealt with. There's no precedence. You couldn't say, well, I remember when this happened. Here's what happened at that time. There's none of that. There's no experience to say, here's how we should handle it. Here's what did or didn't work the last time. So that being said, I look at it as a situation where we probably learn things by the day, or there's updates offered from Dana on like, a semi-regular basis. I would expect it, at least if it isn't moved, the location, it's going to be one of those situations where they, at least if they are going to carry it out, it's going to be remote. There's not going to be fans within the arena. It's a crazy thing to think about. You're taking out one of the most important things of live events, which is crowd noise and
the fans, and everything.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, and it's disappointing, but I mean, people are still tuning in to watch. So if they do hold it, we're happy to watch. And
you know something?
I think it's a time. You think about it, right? We want things to watch. We need entertainment, right?
Yes.
Right.
And I give Dana White props for hosting that fight night in Brazil with no fans. Listen, everyone said it was a dumb move. And listen, you may say it's a dumb move, but
I thought it was smart.
It was a smart move because, listen, everything is getting canceled. I've been watching WWE. I don't even watch WWE as much as I watch anymore because I just don't like the product, what it's become. But I've been watching it more because that's the only live entertainment I can watch with AEW on Wednesday nights. So I got Monday Night Raw, Wednesday AEW, Friday Night SmackDown, NXT. So I have things to watch, but they're all closed in. But it doesn't matter. Those are the only source of entertainment I can get as a fighting fan that likes wrestling and everything, even if it's fake. So I give props to Dana White for trying to make these things happen, but he had to cancel the last 3 ones. We were going to have Tyrone Woodley against Leon Edwards, but that got canceled. Then there was rumor of Colby Covington stepping in. That's another story. But the point is there were so much things going on right now that we just cannot predict the outcomes. And I just hope that these things clear up. But as for UFC fights in general, people are discussing some fantasy matchups, things that they're hoping are going to happen.
We're like pie in the sky and wishful thinking.
But also predictions for the next quarter of the UFC. So we're heading into International Fight Week. We're heading into that kind of territory this summer. We're heading into there. And the first few fights that have been announced, again, Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, Amanda Nunes, Felicia Spencer. Then you have Kamaru Usman against Jorge Masvidal. We don't know when that's going to happen, but that has been confirmed. It is going to happen.
Nice fight, man.
Now there's rumors pointing that Conor McGregor is looking to fight Justin Gaethje. We don't know exactly much info, but Ariel has been reporting that somebody from someone's camp, they can't exactly figure out who's doing discussions, but there are discussions of Conor versus Gaethje, either at featherweight or welterweight. I don't know what weight class they're going to go with. I would like to see welterweight because Conor looks a little bit better at welterweight, and
sure.
I think it's a little bit better for welterweight because listen, he can try to go for Khabib all he wants, but welterweight's really where he could probably do something, I think. But that's another possibility. Next thing, the flyweight division is pretty much in shambles. There is no champion. So there's a rumor that Joseph Benavidez against Diego 2 is going to happen, but I mean, that's really not going to change anything, but okay. But the point is there are some rumors and stuff going on of what things could happen, but, this coronavirus came in and kind of messed everything up. Sure. And so now we're going to have to put things on hold and just, wait and see how things get better. So my message to everybody tonight is I hope you all take your precautions necessary, and I really hope that you all stay safe. And to the younger generation, whoever watches this, my Generation Z generation, I'm part of Gen Z. I thought I was a millennial for all these years, but it turns out I'm part of Gen Z. So God, shoot me in the brains. But to the Gen Z generation, please, guys, listen. I know you're young. I know we're young. I know you think that we're inevitable. We'll cure from this. We won't get sick. But guys, it doesn't matter. If one of us gets sick, everybody gets sick. We may not be able to die that fast like these older people, but if we are a host, we carry this virus and we spread it to other people, we are basically the carriers. We may not get affected, but we carry the virus. You may not see signs. So I see these things online of people, going to parties, raves, spring break, and I'm like, guys, you really don't understand. You don't get it. Yeah, maybe this thing is blown up a little bit, but they're only doing it because they want you to be safe, and you don't want to get others sick. Because even if you get sick, you pass it on to somebody else makes it more worse. So my advice to my generation, please, guys, for once, use your fucking brains and stop trying to act like you're invincible when you're not invincible. You are human.
It's what comes with being young and young and dumb, I guess.
I hate my generation, but I hope for this one time, I really hope
do the right thing.
You do the right thing and just use your fucking brains.
Do it for your grandparents. Do it for your parents. Do it for your neighbors. Do it for your family.
Everything.
Right?
And listen, all I'm going to say is this. I hope everybody stays safe, especially you, Sam. I know you have a family, so I'm wishing, and I really do
Same to you, man. Same to you and the family. I hope everybody stays healthy and stays clear.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. And I hope everybody watching this, please do stay safe, everybody. You may not be affected by it, but others can be. So just please listen to what they're saying. If they're saying to stay in your house and not go out, lockdown, stay in your house. And I swear to God, if I see one idiot out there starting Sunday, if I see a moron on a bike riding around, I'm going to say, get the fuck in your house, or I'm going to come the fuck out there. I'm going to beat the shit out of you on your bike. I'm just playing. I wouldn't do that. But
send to Gangrene David. Send him out there.
Oh.
Yeah, send the homie.
You said I love you, David. But that's it for tonight's live stream, guys. Sam, thank you as always for coming on. I appreciate you doing this with this rough situation. Guys, I will be back on YouTube starting Monday. This was just a fun stream. I technically did take a break, but just wanted to kind of break the ice because you can't do so much in the house.
Fun times, man.
So everybody, once again, please take your precautions necessary. Please stay safe, everyone. Have a great night. And I wish you all nothing but the best. And I will see you all on Monday with the Galaxy Bud Plus review.
Yeah.
And I have another review coming soon. Stay tuned for that. You are not going to want to miss that. Thank you all for tuning in, as always. I love each and every one of you guys, my subscribers, to new fans on. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. And Sam, I'll let you say it.
Peace.